Greetings, Legionnaires, and welcome to another weekly update. I am your host, Si, here for the week as usual, joined by my two esteemed colleagues. Big Andy, you've not been so well this week, mate. Are you feeling better now?
Oh, all better, mate. Yeah, glad to be back. It was heartbreaking last week.
Yeah, you were. It's good to have you back. As usual, Nick the Geek joining us. How are you today, dude?
I'm good, mate. I was trying to figure out where I'm going to put this green screen. But other than that, I'm good. Yeah. Well, no, I know that much, but I need wall space.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We'll get it.
First case of business. Apologies to our American viewers if we're an hour later this week. We're actually on time. It's just the fact that the American clocks went forward and ours didn't. So, hopefully you're still tuning in. And it started already.
Yeah. Hello, David.
Anyway, without further ado, we've got a special guest this week. So, would you like to bring him in? He's an old friend of mine. This is Josh. How you doing, Josh?
It's on old there, right? Old friend.
Well, I mean, me and you have known each other for must be 20 years.
Oh, over at least 20 years.
I'm gonna tell a story.
Go ahead.
I was living in Tennessee in the early 2000s, and Josh was a friend of mine. I think we met doing some e-fedding online, didn't we?
We did.
Back in the day. Really cool stuff. And I made the trip to Kentucky to see him wrestle probably 2-3 times at a company called BCBW, Big Clifty Backyard Wrestling. Brutal. Apologies. It was a thoroughly entertaining show at the time. I know you were kind of just starting out. I remember a lot of the guys there had a great time, about 100 people watching, but it was a really, really good little tight show you had going on. Yeah. Well, since then, you've moved on to some bigger and better things.
Back when I was still healthy enough, I traveled around a lot. My nephew just recently became a huge wrestling fan, found out that I used to wrestle professionally, and I'm the coolest person in the world now.
I bet. Yeah.
Anytime he brags on somebody in WWE, he's like, Roman Reigns has 2 belts. I'm like, I had 7 at the same time at one point. He's like, what? You had? Yeah. Didn't matter. But you look at him, it's the coolest thing ever. So yeah, it's been here the last few years though. It's been more about who I've seen make it, that I've known personally or been on shows with. Cassius Ohno in his NXT days, like I didn't miss anything because I've been in the ring with him, and Nigel doing commentary for WWE, stuff like that. Now it's watching them appear on AEW or watching them on Dark, watching them, Billy Starks has been making a lot of AEW Dark appearances. So it's like watching these people that I know personally, like I didn't make it, you all go make it for me, and they're doing it left and right. It's pretty awesome.
So who interrupt you for a second, Si? Dale has a question.
If I'm watching, does that make me a Legionnaire? Absolutely, Dale. Absolutely.
Also, I am the official apology for the American people that couldn't be late. It's like they're going to miss it because we didn't, the time changed. So we'll put an American on the show to make up for it. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
And just to make fingers, I've called Dale a lot more things than a Legionnaire, but I suppose a Legionnaire is a good one for him since he's watching.
If you're watching, you are a Legionnaire. Totally, yeah. So Josh, who would you say was give me 3 names? The biggest 3 names that you've kind of been on a show with or wrestled, or your favorites, whichever.
3 biggest names. Let's see. The name that I'm the most proud of is Tracy Smothers. I was on several shows with him. Yeah, and what really sucks is I was scheduled to work a program with him in one of the promotions I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It was called United Pro Wrestling, and we set it up. He comes out as a heel, and he's having his match, and he's doing, if I don't win, everybody dies. The whole Tracy Smothers thing. He wins and shakes his opponent's hand. So I come out, I cut a promo about how disappointed I am. Like, my hero just lost and shook somebody's hand, and I call him out big time. And at one point, and in the little mic work I did, I said, "You used to be somebody, now you're just a joke." And microphone away from his mouth, under his breath, he goes, "I'm not a damn joke." So I'm thinking, I've just ruined my relationship with Tracy Smothers. He's a legit tough guy. He's going to ruin me backstage. So I'm back in the locker room, just waiting for him to get done pandering to the crowd. I'm like, he's going to be all happy, step to the curtain and whoop my ass, And he comes back, and I was like, Tracy, man, I'm so sorry about calling you a joke. He goes, did you hear those people? They hate you. They can't wait to see me murder you. I'm like, sweet. All right. I was certain I was about to get my head ripped off. So Tracy definitely is way up there for me. And then I'd say my favorite that I was in the ring with was Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, because I knew I didn't belong in the ring with him. And he made me feel after the match, like during the match and after the match, I'm like, wow, I belong. And this was pre NXT. This was back whenever him and CM Punk were known going hand in hand,
Before he gained all the weight.
Yeah.
And then lost it, and then gained it, and then lost it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's nothing we couldn't have accomplished in that match. He called spots that I've never done before, and I nailed them perfectly. He just knew it was time for it. Like, you remember the old Randy Savage spot where he grabbed the guy by the head, jump over the top, and ring him down over the top rope? I've never jumped over the top. He goes, Randy Savage me on the rope. Okay. And I did it. I cleared the top, done it. Crowd went nuts. I'm like, okay, there's something else I can do. Like, he had more faith in me than I did. And then just strictly been on a show with, it's got to be Swerve. Because he's exactly and nothing like his character at the same time. Like, he's as cool as his character appears, but he's not the jerk his character appears.
Yeah.
Like, I go up to him, like, man, how did you do so-and-so? And just, didn't miss a beat, just told me. He didn't act like I was an idiot for asking or anything like that. So from here on out, his success in the business is what I'm going to be hanging my head on. Like, I was on a show with that dude who's one of the best in the business right now. So, it's almost been more about who I've met than who I've been in the ring with in the wrestling.
Yeah. No, that's an impressive list of names right there. I was thinking while you were talking about the Randy Savage over the top move there, that your finishing move didn't used to kind of catapult back off the middle rope and then a headbutt to the crotch or something like that, wasn't it?
Oh, there was one of my signatures. I'd set them up like a Bronco Buster.
Right.
But I would, how Jeff Hardy does it, where he puts his feet on the middle rope and then does the big swing and drop kick. I would do that, but I'd come out and do a headbutt to the crotch.
Yeah, and, that's the one I remember.
It's funny that you remember that, because on the first show where I met Swerve, there was a guy there who was an independent legend back in the late 90s, early 2000s, named Suicide Kid. He's one of those that everybody does a Suicide Kid move, but nobody knows they're doing a Suicide Kid move. So he's in the locker room talking to all of us, and I almost marked out, because he was before I started wrestling, he was one of the guys I'd go to any show he was on to see him. He's like, hey, you need to go do my moves, and I'm like, I do your headbutt to the crotch. And dude almost starts crying. He goes, are you going to do that tonight? Well, we hadn't called it. So I go over to the guys I'm wrestling. It's a triple threat. And I'm like, I'm changing one of my spots to the headbutt to the crotch. So, I get in the ring, and I go to do it, and I yell out, Suicide Kid, baby, before I do it. Whole crowd pops. Suicide Kid wouldn't shut up the rest of the night. He's like, somebody else better do another one of my moves. But it was just I got to do, and I know Suicide Kid's not a name to everybody. He's huge to me. But I got to do a move in front of a guy that made me want to do independent wrestling. So that was pretty big. Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome to remember that move too. So
David is asking here, Josh, did you go by Joshy Boy? I think he's asking what your ring name was.
Actually, I do know a guy that trained that wrestles as Joshy Boy now, but no, that's not me. When I first started, I wrestled as Red Dog because I had to think of a name and I couldn't think of one. And my brother's talking to a guy online. It was J.C. Bailey, actually. It was before he started wrestling for CZW and all that. It's when he was still wrestling with his dad's promotion and stuff. And it's well, they want a name before you step in the ring with him. I was like, Red Dog. Yeah. So that stuck for a while.
Well, then and
then my name that I was the most proud of was True Talent Trent Richards. I was pure. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, swear words, right? Why so I'll keep it. I was as heel of a heel as I could possibly be. If I didn't go to the back and make a kid cry before the night was over, I didn't do my job. If I didn't have a father of a teenage daughter follow me to the parking lot after the show, I didn't do my job.
Nice.
So if I had my limits, of course I wouldn't say anything overly offensive, but if it got me hated, I would say it.
Yeah. No, I remember you getting some good heat, and that was only when you were first starting out,
Yeah.
But Red Dog, you had the name Red Dog, I think, before. Didn't Rodney Mack use it for a while as well?
Rodney Mack used it at the same time. I was innocent and not knowing at the time who Rodney Mack was, but there were several people going by the name Red Dog. I only ever got threatened by one, and thank God it wasn't Rodney Mack. It was because I would have changed my name as I was peeing my pants
straight away. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Was a scrawny old guy, and I was like, "No, I'm Red Dog now." And he left it alone. But yeah, it's a common name.
Tardy says Red Dog was also a Mott Locker in the 90s that wrecked me.
People thought that was names. They buy it for me all the time. Red Dog. Like, please don't. I'll change my name to Bud Light if I have to. Keep the Red Dog away.
So we've not got as much to talk about this week, guys, as usual. I think it's been quite a slow news week. Is this just me? I mean, I don't remember a Red Dog beer. Is this an American thing?
It must be, yeah. I think that must be.
Yeah,
hello, Jimmy.
The logo on it was a big red, like English bulldog head with a spiked collar on, and I think that they somehow extracted it from an actual red dog. Is why it tasted so bad. It was terrible. Even for an American beer, it was terrible. Right.
Okay. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about this week, guys, we've been waiting quite a while now for the first Hall of Fame induction. These normally start getting announced about 7 or 8 weeks before WrestleMania. We are, last time I checked, 3 weeks out, and we've had the first inductee announced this week. I don't like having to wait so long, but you can't argue with the pick. It's Rey Mysterio. What does everyone think about this? Let's start with you, Andy.
I'm over the moon. The fact that it's Rey Mysterio is still... I mean, I don't know, actually. Do you know what, right? I'm made up he's going in, and I'm made up they've picked Conan to put him in there, which is just awesome. But I think it only makes sense if WrestleMania is going to be his last match.
That's what we were going to come on to talk to next. So, Nick, I'll let you share your thoughts on this one. Do you think WrestleMania is going to be Rey's last match?
I think if they set it up at the Hall of Fame with Dominic, and I think this year they may actually use the Hall of Fame ceremony to set up a WrestleMania match last minute, then yes, I think it probably will be Rey's last match. He's 48 now, I believe. So I don't know if it'll be his last match entirely in wrestling, because you never say never, but I think it'll be the end of his WWE run. And then he might go off and do a couple of dates here and there. But, I mean, I like Andy. I'm chuffed for him. I think it's great for Rey to go into the Hall of Fame, and Conan is the perfect person to induct him. Without a shadow of a doubt, their history and relationship over the years is well documented. But if they use the Hall of Fame to set it up, yes, it's his last match. If they don't, no.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the Hall of Fame ever being used like that. I know years ago they had like Luger attack Brett at the WrestleMania brunch.
I agree.
But has Hall of Fame ever been used for storyline? Anyone?
No,
it hasn't.
Nope.
I think they used it to gauge the crowd on something before, but not to set up anything. Maybe to test the waters a little bit, but not to actually set up an angle. And not only am I thrilled and think that Rey's deserving, I think he's also one of the few that's deserving of being inducted while they're active. WWE is really selective about who goes in while they're active. Rey deserves it. I mean, even if you just look, not about what he's meant to everybody else, if you just look at how long he's been in the upper echelon, WCW till today, there's been a little gap here and there where he wasn't one of the key guys.
Yeah.
So, he absolutely deserves it. And
the fact he's got his whole career as a face as well is just unbelievable.
Yeah. The closest he been to not being a face was the Rascals, but he was still.
I mean, it's arguable. Me and Nick we talked about this before, haven't we, dude? It's arguable, but there was a couple of months when he was with the Filthy Animals that he arguably was a heel.
He was arguably presented as a heel, but my argument is Sting's the only other guy people consider to have been a babyface his whole career, and there was still a couple of weeks. Steamboat's actually a good show, but there was still a couple of weeks in Sting's career when Russo tried to present him as a heel, but the fans just didn't accept it.
Okay, let me ask you all something. Do you feel like the WrestleMania match between Dom and Rey will be for the mask, right? But Dom wins the match and then tosses the mask.
Yeah.
You see,
That would be absolute
about
nuclear.
you guys were all watching back then, and when Ray was in WCW or ECW, he was Rey Mysterio Jr., wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And then when he came to WWE or WWF, whichever it was at the time,
Yeah.
they dropped the Junior.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the name means King of Mystery. So could they put the mask and maybe the Rey Mysterio name on the line at WrestleMania? So Dominic would be the new Rey Mysterio Jr. if he kind of
instead of putting the career, put the name, put the that would be a brilliant way of doing that. Really,
that would be a really good way of doing it.
It would also be a great way to make Dom one of the top heels by getting the persona and not using it. But then you've also got him becoming a huge face when the change comes and he decides, damn it, I'm putting the mask on. So I think that's I think that's brilliant. I think that's even better than career.
It puts him in for a great setup with a feud for Santos Escobar as well.
I love Santos Escobar. He's so good. He's so good.
Yeah, Santos.
I think also as well is I think with Ray you wouldn't have to put the career on the line because I think the mask being on the line is the career.
Yeah.
Now.
It is at this point.
At WrestleMania, they always love to find their way of giving us the exact same match type, but saying it differently. You know what I mean? Like, what was it last year? The most stupendous main event or whatever, the biggest main event?
Yeah.
They always have a different way of like, WrestleMania is the biggest thing ever. Let's make sure people know that. Well, they
maybe this year
around that time too.
Maybe Ray against Dom will be like the greatest mask versus hair match ever, or something like
that.
Yeah, mask versus mullet.
Mask versus mullet. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exciting with Ray going in the Hall of Fame. Next thing on the cards tonight.
Oh,
sorry,
actually,
can I
just one thing.
Go ahead.
There's also a rumor flying around that Muta will be the next person announced for the Hall of Fame. Just thought throw that in.
Will be the international one this time.
Yes, by the looks of things.
Yeah, makes sense.
It actually made me really mad that his farewell tour didn't.
I always thought that was the part of the agreement with sending Shinsuke.
Yeah, that could be the return favor for sending Shinsuke over. You're right. I've also heard Batista with it being in Los Angeles. But it'd be interesting to see who else we get. And we've lost Andy.
Imagine Ray and Batista going into the same night. That's kind of fitting, if you ask me.
So Tidy says he's been waiting for Ray versus Escobar as his send-off. I mean, yeah. If Ray did another match after Dom, that would be great.
I would love to see. They've been setting it up as well with the whole respect angle that they've been running with Ray and Escobar on SmackDown on Fridays.
Accidentally reunites Ray and Dom.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I'm trying to remember if Ray ever wrestled Escobar or King Quano in Lucha Underground. Any of you guys remember?
No,
I don't
he didn't.
remember.
He wrestled Puma, but he did not wrestle Quano.
Him and Puma was incredible.
Yeah, but Ricochet's the flippiest of all boys.
Well, we got here from David. Katie Vick
was a mail-in ballot. She got my vote.
Trust you, Dale.
Ruleta de la Muerte, final mask versus mask. Yeah, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Except Dom doesn't wear a mask. And if he did, it'd look like Psychosis. Because the rest of his gear is like Psychosis.
I thought that too. That's my least favorite thing about him being with the with Judgment Day. Is the only thing that has changed is his color pattern. I think he should have changed his gear altogether.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Instead of looking like La Parka 19.
Yeah, he does. So maybe you can shed some light on this next topic, Josh, because...
Sorry, can I just put in, do we still think that it's going to be Batista as the main event? Very quickly.
For Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I think that's the big name.
I think it's Ray.
Like I said, him and Ray going in the same night, to me, that makes a ton of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. They're very close.
Batista's career.
Yeah, cool. Sorry to put
So I was going to move on to the story that's broken this week about WWE considering legalizing betting in the United States. I mean, for all of us guys over here in Europe, it's something that I've done from time to time, probably for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, you get really good odds on the guys that never win. You get really bad odds on the guys that win. And most times I've gone to look at the event and put a bet on. It's just ended up spoiling the results because they're very rarely wrong. But how about you, Josh? How do you feel about this working over there in the States?
For a while now, we've been allowed to bet on, I don't know even know how you would put it, but like not on who wins, but we've been able to bet
Right.
on like how many finishers will be hitting the main event.
Right.
Who will be the first person to come off the top rope for the whole night or whatever.
Yeah.
To me,
Is that
those kind of
free
things.
DraftKings? Is that Josh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, those things have been, in a sense, like cooler to me than betting on the outcome, because you're just betting on their mood or their mentality that week. Do I see myself betting on? No, I would do the DraftKings before I would the legit, like to have a legit bet about an illegitimate outcome. Yeah, I don't see me doing it. I mean, if it makes some money though, I'm all for it. Like whatever. You want to take suckers' money, take suckers' money.
Thing is, you have to consider how it'll affect the company, because if L is to be told, the idea will be that people that need to know the finish of matches and how storylines are being booked will no longer know the finishes of matches or how these storylines are being booked because of the betting odds. Yeah. You can't change like the way the whole business runs overnight.
Yeah. So you're saying, like, say Ray versus Dom at WrestleMania, if that was one we could bet on, they wouldn't let Ray or Dom, either one, know who was going over until the night, so they could say, "Hey,"
all the producers of the match.
Yeah,
all the writers.
Yeah. Okay, now that makes it. Yeah, I'd be willing to bet on it then.
Yeah.
But just the thought of, hey, I'm beating Rhea Ripley tonight. I'm 9,000 to 1 odds. Bet on me, and you're going to make a lot of money. Like, no, I couldn't support that anymore.
I think my concern with it all as well is the fact is because WWE seems to be actively pushing this, I'd assume that they'll be taking control of the betting.
Yeah.
Which, considering they've got the control of the outcome, as well as that they can set the odds.
Yeah,
not for me.
Not for me.
I also think, though, with hearing little rumors here and there over the years about them wanting to potentially do like a combined show with wrestling and actual MMA on it together, that might be another reason they want the betting, is so, like, don't just join in to bet on the MMA fights, bet on ours too. I mean, I don't know how.
Yeah, I think the other thing you've got to watch though as well is, say for instance, I don't know, they've got, let's use Cena versus Theory at WrestleMania, and all the money is coming into Theory, and Theory was meant to be the one that was winning it originally. And then all of a sudden they switch the finish because they know for a fact that they've got all the money on Theory, and they can determine all that, can't they? So for WWE, it makes a lot of sense, because if they can see what money is coming in and what's going out and everything else that comes there, they can switch things to make sure that they're profitable and everything. So for them, it's great, but I'm sure the Gambling Commission will have something very much to say about that.
Like you say, even if you make it,
they have to lock in their winners early. Like they have to let the commission know, hey, Theory's going over tonight. We can't change, or Theory's going over at Mania. We can't change that from here on out. If they find a way to completely legitimize the betting to where it's actually you actually do have a chance better than winning the lottery, then it's all right. But if all the cards are in their hands, then you're just giving them money to be wrong.
Like we say, there's a lot of ways it can change the business from the inside. Like you said, Andy, is it going to change results, like organically? In which case, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are they going to make it so that WWE employees, relatives of wrestlers, backstage production team, their families, none of those people can bet?
Because so.
I think the other thing that worries me is, like, let's look at some of the stories. I mean, Sami Zayn one's probably not a good one to use, but if you go way back, like, most of the time is when they do a program with a wrestler, it'll go over however period it goes over, and in the end, the good guy triumphs. And it's kind of like, if you've got a betting thing in that, you couldn't do a program like that anymore. You couldn't have that kind of, like the Cody, the Cody Rhodes story is not the good guy triumphing, because it hasn't even been like that. It's been rubbish. But the Sammy story was all leading up to it has been awful, mate. I love Cody Rhodes, but it's awful. It's been an awful story that's been lashed together, and WWE have tried to just bash everybody away from the real storyline that's there. But let's look at Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, it was, what odds would he be if he was at WrestleMania? Because we knew the story was coming there, didn't we? The Big E story, that was coming with money in the bank. How would Money in the Bank work now? Because You know, what they have every...
The problem is the business has ran one way for 40 plus years. You can't all of a sudden bring this in and change the internal structure of the way wrestling is booked. It will screw up the entire product.
Well, imagine how much money they'd make though off just every single night. Will the money in the bank briefcase be cashed in tonight? Just every single night.
Well,
make a fortune.
Of doing the gambling is maybe that kills where you find, we know as fans, because it's been reported, you know, that so and so's winning in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like maybe it cuts that out, the whole spoiler thing. But to me, there's got to be a better way to kill spoilers.
The problem is, though, does that stop it? Because at the end of the day, if Meltzer and that can still get hold of that information now, how does that stop when they go into gambling?
That's what I'm saying. If they've got to lock in their who's winning ahead of time, and they don't let the wrestlers themselves know who's winning ahead of time. If everybody, lips don't have to be sealed if ears don't hear it first. You know what I'm saying? So looking at it that way, if that's what they're doing, we're going to make it, you know, if it's to help with spoilers as well as money, there's got to be a better way to help with spoilers, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that's why they're doing it. But if that's one of their end games, just do all that stuff I just said without involving gambling. You know, who wins tonight? We're not telling you who wins tonight until right before you do it.
Yeah. Unless they'd have to use like a kind of randomized program that just to click a button and it tells them who's going to win each match.
Yeah. I mean,
but then how do you book long-term progressive stories?
Now
this is the problem. Wrestling at its heart is a flow. It's a storyline.
But if you've got good writers, based on the prediction of a match, you could still write a good story.
Oh yeah, if
you know, you could write the story, and then whoever wins it, it's like, okay, we're gonna have to write for this, and you know, because let's face it, in shows, a lot of shows, even on television, take away the wrestling aspect, they write about 6 or 7 different arcs of the story of which way they're going, and they pick one out. So they could do the same thing. They could write 3 or 4 different story arcs, and then based on what the randomization picks the winner, they go, okay, well, we've got the story to go ahead with that now.
Like the WWE's writers have proven they are not that talented over the years, and
but are they not always? But the thing is, Dominic, I'll stop you there, right? Are they not talented always because the filter at the top that stopped them? At the end of the day, if you've got a dirty filter, you'll never get nice water.
No, that's a good point.
Maybe they're not good writers because they're being told what to write. Like, this is what we want, and you get us there instead of, hey, you know how we thought Ricochet was going to go on a 9-match losing streak? He's winning the world title tonight. You all better do some damn good storytelling. You know what I mean? Like, pressure makes diamonds out of a lot of people. So, you know, you never know when it comes to that. But it sounds to me,
as I was saying,
with what Andy said about all the multiple arcs, it sounds like wrestling's becoming SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, where you don't have to win every match in the story to become champion, because losing this one makes you go here, but winning it makes you go that. Yeah, I'm down with that. I just don't see how, personally, from being behind, and I know Indy and WWE is totally different, but being behind the scenes, I don't see how that works. I really don't.
No, I agree with you, Josh. I don't think it would work in different promotions, but I think, as you say, WWE is a different beast, and I think it could work like that.
Well,
I think we're all kind of agreed that.
Do you remember Battle Bowl where they draw the teams at random?
They were great.
Okay, we did it actually randomized. Okay, so the last person to go out was told by somebody in the back which team was going over to make, you know, to see who makes it to the battle royal at the end. Brilliant idea. Wrestlers back then, especially, it was call it in the ring, so it worked for that too. But everybody also wants to call some stuff in the back. Well, that got robbed from us. So now every step of the way is being called in the ring. So it's like the wrestlers that weren't capable of it are having terrible matches. So, like, to me, I look at it, that is one show that was that chaotic. Looking at an entire promotion built that way, it'd be amazing. It'd be great television, but I don't know if it'd be good wrestling. It'd be fantastic television.
Yeah. Because like you say, there's so many guys that kind of practice the kind of choreographed spots and whatever, you know, DDP, RVD, guys like that will just lay the whole match out. Yeah. And then there's the guys that will call on the fly. Yeah. So, I mean, it could lead to some unpredictability. I think the general consensus here is that the kind of negatives are going to outweigh the positives, but we'll see what happens with it.
I
still don't
lottery as well, Andy. I thought Lethal Lottery was fantastic. Legit or not, it was amazing.
No, it was absolutely the shit. The
really,
absolute
like
shit.
I loved it until the battle royal aspect.
It's so bad for Lethal Lottery.
Oh,
it's so bad.
It's good. For that night.
No, it's just bad.
I loved it. I was a little kid when I first saw it.
Do you know what? Some of the matches on the pay-per-view were quite good, but the actual concept was just all over the place. Oh, honest to God.
Yeah. And that was with them planning it out too.
Yeah.
So that goes to show that was planned out and it wasn't streamlined. So imagine that being how you're doing it without knowing.
But as I say though, we don't forget with Game of Thrones, like they done with Game of Thrones, they wrote about there was 6 or 7 different endings before and not even the characters knew until it was released which one they were going with. So if you're a wrestler and they've got 6 or 7 different things, they might even get you to do a couple of extra promos or something like that, and then as you walk out the door,
you can work it out.
Yeah, and as you're going through Guerrilla, they say, right, we're going with scenario 4 or whatever it may be, you know.
And you look at it back in the day in the 80s, whenever you hear WWE or WWF back then, when you hear those guys saying, I had to be in Stanford for TV or I had to be in Dayton for TV. What they meant then was not to be wrestling on TV. It was going and cutting all these different promos for TV, whether it be for, advertising when you're going to be in Hoboken, New Jersey, or it be to cut a promo that they're going to air on WWF Superstars. You went to TV just to be in front of a camera doing promos. And I never got to experience that. That would, to me, that's being a wrestler. You know what I mean? All right, we're going to cut a promo. The fans get to decide who you're wrestling tonight. It could be any of these 9 guys. We need a backstage segment with you talking about these 9 guys separately. Oh my God, thank you. Let me do that. Yeah. To me, it would make it more, for the wrestlers that are involved now, would give them more of a taste of how it used to be. I would love that idea.
I think also, as I said before, at the end of the day, water will taste bad if you've got a bad filter, and I feel like maybe the writers will be able to get their stuff out there more and actually be writers than getting told, we're changing this, because as much as I like Levesque, I think from what I'm being told, he's still doing a few bits like that where they're changing things last minute and doing bits, so, you don't know, do you, what goes on?
Yeah. They're more of translators right now than they are writers anyway.
Yeah.
They're just putting somebody else's words on paper in a better way.
Yeah.
So, talking about things being changed last minute, guys, I've got the WrestleMania card in front of us here. It's not the WrestleMania that I thought we would see if you'd have asked me 4 or 5 months ago. There's been a lot of changes.
The Rock's not there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big...
No. The Rock's not wrestling there, Nick.
Wrestling there, sorry.
That's it. The Rock's not wrestling there.
I apologise. Keep the hope alive.
Just running through the card we've got here officially on Wikipedia so far. Give me just a thumbs up or a thumbs down, guys, if you think it's going to be a great match or if you don't think it's going to be that great. The only match announced so far for night 1 is Seth Rollins and Logan Paul.
Can't believe I get the thumbs up, but that's...
Yeah, all round. That's a good start.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be great.
I hate it, but Logan is really good at this.
He's so good. Naturally. It's a shame he's not full-time.
None of us know how hard he's actually working on it, though. To me, that's one of the brilliant things.
I like the fact he's not full-time. I like it because I think he is an attraction.
Yeah, he's completely not a douchebag, and people like to see him get beaten up.
Okay, so it hasn't been assigned a night yet, the rest of these matches, but we've got, obviously, Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes.
Match quality, I'm going to go in the middle.
Oh, okay. So, Andy, Josh, why are you guys going in the middle for that? In fact, Andy, no, I know what you're going to say. We went through this 2 weeks ago. Josh, why is it a thumb in the middle?
I think the promo work's been fantastic, but I still think the storyline feels rushed. So, to me, that makes me think that the story of the match could be rushed. Don't get me wrong. These two together in the ring are fully capable of 5 full stars with no problem.
Yeah, but the whole thing is Cody's there because he's Cody Rhodes. That's it. He's not there because he's struggled or he's done. But that's the Oh, come on, The Rock and Cody Rhodes. There's a total difference there, isn't there?
No. There's not. It would have been exactly the same. The Rock would have been put in that match because he's The Rock.
But
not because he struggled against anything, not because he's done anything else. And the only reason they put him in it was in the Rumble. Doesn't matter.
It
The
does.
Rock past tense.
It
In
does.
2000, what did The Rock do to win the Royal Rumble? He came in
He
at
didn't win it.
27. He hit on the ropes.
Show
He
won.
didn't even win the goddamn match. The Big Show won
He
it.
was The
but
Rock.
he still got to WrestleMania. It doesn't
He
matter.
was The
Bucky
Rock.
was The Rock. Yeah, and he's Cody Rhodes.
He was becoming
Yeah,
the
just
Rock
his son.
too. He wasn't the Rock yet, really.
Yeah.
Not fully.
Cody Rhodes is like Ken Shamrock of '97. He's not.
No, he's not like
No,
Ken Shamrock of
no,
97. You
no.
disrespectful
No,
son
no.
of a...
Hot take of the week.
Cody and Roman are fully capable of being 5 stars.
Cody Rhodes is the best on-the-spot storyteller in professional wrestling. He's the perfect mix of the old and the new. You put him in there with Roman, who is one of the best in-ring storytellers going today. They don't need a story that has been epically planned out ahead of them. They can tell the story in the match as long as they are given 20 to 30 minutes. It will be an absolute masterpiece.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
So,
I agree with everything you just said. My only thing I disagree with is that Roman, for the past 2 years, his matches have been so storyline driven, with him nailing it every step of the way. I give you that 100%. But we got more with him and Jay both matches than we've gotten so far, and that we have time left for. So the story he was able to tell in the ring was set up better before they got in the ring than this one. I'm not doubting their ability.
No. I'll agree with that. But for me, that makes it crunch time for the wrestlers. It puts more pressure on the guys, and they have to deliver a higher level of match.
That's why I'm giving it in the middle. Because
That's what I'm saying. There's still time to turn it.
We don't know what they can do last minute. If they pull off even a 4-star match here, they're the two best of the generation. If they pull off 4 stars, they're the best of their generation.
Yeah.
Is he?
And I get what you guys are saying. I saw a meme this week on Twitter, and it was the old guy standing at the urinals, and there's about 12 urinals, and then somebody else comes and stands right next to him, and the speech bubble says, "Dusty Rhodes is my dad," and that's kind of what the whole storyline's been. So I get your complaints about that, but I'm with you, Nick, and I still think it's going to be fantastic.
I agree. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, don't get me wrong, right? Seeing this match is going to be a great match.
More than one royal family.
It's not. And it isn't the Rhodes, mate.
Yeah,
it is not the Rhodes. Where is the Rhodes, the royal family of wrestling, Nick? Come on.
No. I said they have more than one royal family. The Flairs were a royal family of wrestling. The Rhodes are a royal family of wrestling. The Briscoes were a royal family of wrestling.
The Rhodes are not the royal family of wrestling.
Here's the thing. Okay, when Cody put that in his entrance music 4 years ago, when he went to AEW, I kind of thought that he was saying that there's more than one royal family in wrestling aside from the McMahons. I thought it was like a McMahon.
About the McMahons.
Yeah. The Rhodes are, I'm sorry, do you know what, mate? I like Dusty, I like Cody, but the Rhodes are not a royal family of wrestling. They are not.
We will disagree on this.
They can't dust the boots of the Hart family or people like that. There's no way. I'm telling you, no way.
And I have to disagree with that.
Because was Dusty a great promoter who ran his own show, or did he always have to go and work for somebody?
Dusty alone is a royal family of professional wrestling.
Dusty's a big name. He's a big name in professional.
He's the reason we have anybody that was even better on the mic than they were in the ring. They all learned.
Okay, but does that mean Robbie Brookside's up there then? Because he's worked with a lot of them in the thingy. William Regal up there with that same because he's worked with a lot of them over the years, bringing them.
Yeah, William Regal is for British wrestling.
Yeah,
I think William Regal is I don't know as much about British wrestling as you all do, of course.
Hell, he's got Regal in his name.
But I think William Regal is the Dusty of British wrestling. The people that have learned from him are
Dusty is a great guy.
The people he's been in the ring with.
Dusty's a great guy, don't get me wrong, and I've got a lot of respect for him, but he's not up on Mount Mushrow no matter what anybody says. He is,
as far as I'm concerned.
He isn't. He's a solid mid-carder.
Who?
I think
Dusty Rhodes.
I think if you'd
watched
watch
the main eventer for years in NWA and WCW, him and Ric Flair, him and Harley Race, him and Luger,
and Tom Morocco, people like that. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of them that were up there, but Harley Race doesn't get talked.
Hogan main evented a WrestleMania against King Kong Bundy.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Hogan is that big draw, but what I'm saying is if you look back at Rick Martel was a massive star in the NWA and AWA, wasn't he, back in the day? But he never got the levels in the thing, Absolutely. And nobody ever talks about him on the same level as Dusty and stuff. And it's like, why?
But he was never because even Dusty, the main in NWA.
To me, Dusty represented the people.
Yeah, but Dusty's legacy is beyond the camera. Do you know what I mean?
No, Dusty's legacy is all-encompassing of the professional wrestling business, which is why the Rhodes are a royal family of wrestling. Because everything.
Andy, you just touched on something there, and you just put a light bulb off in my head. Is Rick Martel in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No.
Oh, somebody thinks so. Yeah, he is.
Is he?
I don't know, Dale. Can you confirm that Dale's a big Martel?
He should be.
Because if he's not, he should be.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not trying to disrespect Dusty here. It's just for me personally, I just don't see how people can put Cody in this bag saying because of his dad. It's like, no, mate. Do you know what I mean? He's doing well. He's doing well, but I tell you, I hope Roman smashes him, and I'll be absolutely over the moon if Roman doesn't.
I want Roman to win too.
Yeah.
Rick Martel is not in the Hall of Fame.
Right, there we go. Oh. We need to start a campaign to get Rick Martel in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it might be too late for this.
The only reason I don't want Cody to win, though, is because of all the time we were robbed because of his injury. That's why everything feels rushed. If he had been on TV that whole time and we were building up to Mania, it'd be the perfect story with the perfect ending with him winning. I think they actually need to use him being so soon removed from returning that's why he can't beat Roman. Then give him one of the belts at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
have SmackDown title, have him keep that until next Mania, and he's a 3-year champion, which hasn't happened in decades.
Yeah, the thing that annoys me is, I'm sorry, right, is I love Cody Rhodes and I think he's great and I've liked him for a long time, right? But he has got Roman yard dog thing about him at the moment where they are trying to push him just without doing anything about it.
I agree. His reaction, his reactions from the crowd on his entrance have gotten slightly quieter every week since returning from injury. Because we know Cody's about to become champion, so why get excited? You know what I mean? Like that's
I don't think he will be champion. I honestly don't.
Well, I have a fiver on that with Simon, so we will decide it at WrestleMania.
And
it was
somebody
$5
earlier about the urinal thing with Cody. Like, Dusty's my dad. Okay, I agree with you. I agree with that meme on everything AEW and starting out in WWE. But if you really pay attention, everybody's brought Dusty up but Cody.
Yep.
In this Roman.
That's a good point.
He's always been like, oh, so you want to bring up Dusty? Okay, fine. Yeah, he was my dad. Yeah, he didn't train me. But everybody's brought it up first. So is that still in the realm of Cody not letting Dusty go? Yeah, because all he's got to do is say, hey, let's not use Dusty in your in this.
As I say,
having him react to it's different than having him bring it up.
Just for the record, just one more thing, just to make it clear here, is like I'm not shitting on the Rhodes family or Dusty or anything like that. It's just when for me, a royal family of wrestling is like the Hearts. How many different Hearts can you name in that family? You know, as much as I hate to admit it. Yeah, you know. No, but you can still name them. You can still name them all, though, can't you?
3 Rhodes matter, 3 Hearts matter. That's equal.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Does it though? I'm with you at the same levels because you've got Stu.
I'm not saying you're wrong at all. The Hearts are a royal family. But just in the same vein as the Rhodes, it's more about their influence than it is how many were involved. Nobody's on a Wahoo family. Nobody ever will be.
No.
Like influence-wise, nobody will ever be the McMahon family. But it's just a number of people. To me, it's the overall impact. And Cody, Dusty, and Dustin have had a huge impact on professional wrestling.
Dustin, really?
Goldust was freaking huge.
He was. If you hadn't had Goldust, then the Attitude Era might not have been quite the same.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
The number of people that him as an influence too. That matters. That matters. Owen was a bigger influence than he was a deal. You know what I mean? Like he never got to reach the level he wanted to. But to say he didn't influence it as much as Brett would be a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, Hardy's got it right there. Same as me. I like some Hardy. It just doesn't feel natural. It just feels like they're telling me this is who you need to do now, and that's what's annoying me. 100%. That's what's annoying me, and it annoys me because it's thinking something being put in their contract to make this happen like this. Is something being
Maybe,
put in Cody's contract to say you're going to main event at WrestleMania, or?
I've heard that the only thing that he put in his contract, the only demand, was to not. He's the only one allowed to bring up Stardust. That nobody else can bring up his Stardust gimmick. I've not heard anything about a Mania main event or.
It was that and his music. They were the only clauses he had put in his contract.
Yeah.
And the Homeland. Yeah.
As I say, I'm not saying I'm not shitting on Cody. By the way, I really like Cody. I just wanted to mean more. That's all.
This was a good point, guys. That just came up.
I'm all for what Andy just said. That's 100%. Yeah, it's me too. 100%.
I didn't catch who the comment was from, but saying that just having the story just like one-dimensionally focused on Dusty being his dad, which I get your guys' complaints about, but having that as the main story, it feeling unnatural. Well, what about if he comes out with Dustin Rhodes at WrestleMania? Dustin's in his corner, and then it is literally natural.
Yeah. Yeah, plus, I mean, what else were you going to build it on in such short time? What else was going to be the focal point?
Yeah,
with that's back at the Rumble and now Mania 6 weeks away. What else were they going to focus on?
Yeah, and there's plenty of time after Mania if the program continues to go into other things, and
Which
so carrying on through this card because time is ticking away.
Yeah.
The third match we have Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay.
I think as much as that hasn't got a match storyline, I think the two of them are very physical competitors, and they'll give us a great match.
I think it'll be a solid
decent
match, but I also think. Go ahead.
It's just not been told brilliantly because Rhea can't cut a promo.
She's getting better.
She's getting better,
but she's not great at promos, so she's not telling the story right. The story is the previously defeated challenger, having recreated herself and built herself up from the ground up, is now back to take down the final boss. Yeah. And I like that.
But that's hard when you've got them the wrong way around, as Rhea is the heel and Charlotte
this is what we said.
No, I'm in complete agreement with that. They are completely miscast. And the crowd, which we're going to be part of, I'm assuming are not going to be on Charlotte's side.
No. And I don't think Charlotte can tell a story.
She's like a dad. She's a natural dick.
I think, and I think if you've seen one Charlotte main event, you've seen them all too. So that's where you've
seen one Ric Flair main event, you've seen them all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but Ric was able to build suspense that Charlotte can't. You know what I mean? Like you were still on the edge of your seat when Flair was telling the same story for 30 plus years. I've been laid back waiting for it to end with Charlotte, and I hate that I don't like Charlotte. I hate that I don't, because I liked her so much early on. I was like, she feels like she's going to become one of the greatest in-ring competitors of all time, and then she stayed on that level for years.
That's fair. I mean, she's interesting. She's good technically, but I just think she's just lacking that same charisma as Rick. It's just not.
Well, but
you know what I mean?
How many people have Rick's charisma? Love or hate Rick.
David.
I agree with that, David. It's not often me and David agree.
I agree with David as well.
Carrying on, we have Bianca Belair against Asuka. Get your thumb up, Andy. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Brock Lesnar against Omos.
I can get my thumb in there. There we go.
It's going to be an absolute spectacle. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, Omos can't work a lick, but the whole point is it's Hogan versus Andre. Andre couldn't work a lick at WrestleMania. No. I don't mean the actual
atmosphere.
Who they are, but the atmosphere is that of Hogan versus Andre.
I don't think it will be, mate. And do you know why, right? I was thinking about this before, and I actually spoke to Dale about this today. So I hope you don't mind me jumping in here. But we done a review, which will be out Wednesday on the other channel, for WrestleMania 20. And John Cena versus Big Show was how you present that big guy match, and you also elevate a up-and-comer. Right, the fact that they've put Brock, unless Omos beats Lesnar, right, which I don't think is going to happen, because I feel like it's just going to be Lesnar throwing Omos about everywhere, right? Then it's a waste of time. They should have got somebody young, a Bron Breakker or somebody to come in and overcome the Giants.
Great.
I have a small theory on this.
Nick, tell him why Omos is winning.
The Hurt Business, mate.
Yeah.
The Hurt Business are going to come out in this match.
Brock is too big. I don't care how big the opponent is. Brock is too big to be the John Cena to somebody's Big Show. I don't care.
No.
They'd have to be 3
That's
foot
true as
taller
well.
and 100 pounds heavier than
No,
Omos.
what I'm trying to say, Josh, is Brock Lesnar shouldn't be in that position.
No, you're 10,000% right. If that's the story they're telling, if the story they're telling is Hogan Andre again, then you're right. If they're telling the big bulls colliding, they're still wrong. It's still the wrong two people to choose because we saw last year Bobby Lashley beat Omos clean for his first loss.
Yeah, and we also see Omos versus Braun Strowman. That was the bull match.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying though is Brock Omos would be a great match for this year's Mania if he was still undefeated.
I tell you what would be a great
Bobby
match.
beat him easily, and then Brock has went toe to toe or been better.
Do you know what would be an awesome match for it to be? Yeah, honest to God, and you'll probably laugh at me, but Chad Gable versus Omos, something along them like a proper.
I think Chad can have a great match with a broom.
Yeah.
So
Chad, right now Chad's the Owen Hart of Raw. Can you really go get in the ring with Chad? We'll see.
Yeah.
So he's the measuring stick, and I can't wait for him to get rewarded for it. I want to see him go on a U.S. title run, not just deserving of him, but deserving of that title. Because the U.S. title, IC title, both used to be the can you top this match of the night. And nothing against the current title holders, but Chad would challenge anybody for match of the night.
Is a brave call for me. I actually think that if Gunther carries on and potentially beats Honky's record, I think he's got to get to July, August, somewhere around there.
Yeah, he gets there.
I think it could be after the brand kind of switch after Mania. I think it could be Chad that's the guy to beat him.
Me too. Yeah.
No, I can see that.
You get that tried but true American versus the foreigner story. Yeah.
And then obviously Gunther goes on after Cody or...
Well, Chad's got to do something after Otis becomes a maximum male model.
Yeah.
What are they going to call him after that? Is it going to just be the stupid Otis we've been hearing? Or
yeah, it's Otis.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I think it's genius. No, I don't care. I think the entire maximum male models angle is gold, and Mansoor should have the biggest pay rise in the world because it's hilarious. It's brilliant. I don't care what anybody says. Wrestling at its heart is goofy, stupid shit, and that is perfect goofy, stupid shit.
Can I just point out something? Sorry to butt in again, just to make a point of, just to go back to Omos versus Lesnar. You know, both of you have said something very, very interesting there, is if this is the route to going down of this, or if this is the route to going down of this, it's like, and do you know what's key there is? I don't have a clue, and I'm not sure if any of you can tell me, why on earth are they facing each other?
Nope.
Just because Omos said, I'll fight you, and he said,
because MVP decided that Omos wanted to fight Brock Lesnar.
MVP basically challenged Brock,
Yeah, and that's it. But there's no other reason there, is there?
No, none whatsoever.
The reason you need. I mean, is it any different to? Is it any different to like Jericho spilling the cup of coffee over Kane, or Edge and Booker T having a fight over a shampoo
commercial?
Yeah, not every storyline is going to be
Japanese shampoo commercial.
Breaking Dusty's arm with card.
I just feel like Omos needs something more substance, because at the moment nobody really knows Omos or connects with him, and I feel the more you keep doing this with him, the less you're going to actually get a connect. And that's why I'm hoping the hair business comes back full on, because hopefully then we'll get a connection with Omos.
He has to win. I think there's no other way around it. You have him lose 2 big Mania matches in a row against 2 huge guys that he's dwarfed. He's done.
Well, if they're clever, they have the Hurt Business reuniting, squash Brock Lesnar on night 1, and then all of them come out and help Bobby dispose of Bray Wyatt on night 2.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I can see that a lot. 3 more matches, guys, on the card announced officially so far. So we've got Gunther versus to be determined. Who thinks it's going to be Sheamus? Thumbs up.
No, 2.
Yeah, are we all going triple threat?
Yeah, that's what the 2 thumbs are for.
Yeah. They've ruined the triple threat though, because they haven't.
They'll have shenanigans next week, and it'll still be.
What I'm saying though is they had it. They had a perfect story for it.
Oh no, but you know what?
These 2 guys are about to have another draw.
Okay, do you know what I seen that? Do you know what I seen happen there? Right, is when I seen that happen on Friday night, I thought, yes, we're getting a time limit draw next week with these 2 just killing each other.
That'd be great.
Or do the old school deal where Imperium interferes, thinking now he don't have to defend the title.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I mean, I hope it's a triple threat, but whether it's Drew, whether it's Sheamus, I think that's going to be great. Thumbs up from me.
Yeah, and it better not be a time limit draw deal, because the only time we ever have time limit draws is when WWE tells you how long a match is scheduled for, which they never do. So if that match starts off with a 15-minute time limit, we know how it's going to end.
Yeah. Two more guys. Austin Theory against John Cena.
I think John Cena killed the storyline with that promo.
No, John Cena made the storyline.
No,
because John Cena made the storyline.
If you lose, you lose everything. But if you win, you lose everything.
Yeah.
He made no outcome matter for Austin Theory.
He didn't,
Theory has to now make it matter for himself.
But also, if you look at most wrestling outlets this week, and even some of the actual non-wrestling outfits, they've all been going on about how Cena's shit on Theory. But the one thing Cena's probably done there very clever is they're all talking about them.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
You got to get them talking about you before they're going to care about you. I get your point on what you said there, Nick, but he's got to make it matter. I just don't think that. I think that half of that promo was beautiful for the match, and half of it ruined it for me.
Okay.
But looking at it the way you just said it, now it's more like 60-40 that I'm looking forward to it instead of 50-50. So thank you for that perspective on that.
No worries.
Final match, guys. We have the 6-woman tag with Trish, Lita, and Becky against Damage Control.
I think this is going to be great fun.
It's going to be fun, but that's it.
Trish Stratus is like a fine wine. She gets better and hotter with age.
She does. Oh my God.
She looks better now physically than she's ever looked.
Mate, you know, the thing with me is you can, anytime you put any match on, you could have bloody Omos versus Mansoor in even a gal match, and then you turn around and sprinkle some attitude there to people in there, and I'm like,
we're all happy.
It's going to be great fun. I think the match is going to be borderline garbage, but it'll be a lot of fun. Lita's looked, not good.
Becky will do the heavy lifting, and then it'll build to hot tags.
But I wish this was going to somebody that it would benefit more than Becky. I don't know who that person is. Liv, maybe.
Well, I like the fact that they're keeping Becky away from the titles for the year. It's something that they should be doing with Charlotte, and they never do.
I am hoping Trish turns heel, costs them the match, and then Becky goes into a feud with heel Trish.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hey, okay.
Yeah.
I don't like Becky on the mic the last several months. It sounds like she's trying so hard to get herself over like the man was, and she's not.
The way I see Becky Lynch, I think she's walking like Conor McGregor, and she's talking like Roddy Piper, and it just seems like you say, just maybe a little forced. Love what she does. She's great at what she does, but just trying maybe a little too hard.
Well, I'll tell you now, mate.
Mic work as the man was a lot better than her mic work now.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, mate, she's going to end up like The Rock here. I'll tell you that for a fact. Yeah. After seeing her in Young Rock and how good she was as an actress, she's going places. Yeah. She was she Cyndi Lauper? She was, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Well, even that New York accent that she done was just.
Yeah. So we've gone through 8 matches that we've had officially announced. Yeah, we're guessing there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 more. So let's go around the room and everyone had a match. I'm going to start, and I'm going to say, obviously, take the obvious choice. I think we're getting Ray versus Dominic. Josh.
Oh wow!
What would you add to the card?
What am I adding to the card? We forgot one that's not. Well, we know it's going to happen. The Usos versus Sammy and KO. It's not been announced. I don't want to. Does that count as me adding that one since we all know it's going to happen?
You can add that one because it's not official yet. Yeah, like you say, we all know it's
fine. I'll add the most obvious WrestleMania match of all time that is going to maybe be the best of all time too.
Nick, what are you adding?
I'm going to throw in the one that everybody forgot: Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul.
No, we started with that.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the only match so far that's official for night 1.
Well, in that case, what would I like to see? I'd like to see Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov.
Ooh.
Okay, there you go. I thought NXT World Title should be defended at Mania every year anyway.
Yeah.
Andy, what are you adding, mate?
I'm going to go for Stone Cold versus LA Knight. I've seen it doing the rounds a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, Dave Meltzer reported that this was in the works just a few days ago, but then unfortunately he reported the same day that Alexa Bliss was taking a sabbatical. Alexa saw the tweet and basically denied it and called him out in public. So whether that means we are getting Stone Cold LA Knight or not, I don't know. I could see Stone Cold maybe appearing and doing something similar to what the Rock did with Redbeard a few years ago.
We'll get a segment. We'll get an LA Knight Stone Cold segment. But LA Knight, like, Owens is somebody. LA Knight's not yet. So LA Knight doesn't deserve a match with Stone Cold.
No, but the whole thing is, I think it's a good way to elevate somebody. And also, I think, again, LA Knight would be a safe pair of hands for Austin. Because he's not somebody in WWE, but he is somebody in the wrestling industry, and I think he'd be. You've got to remember
more attitude in the ring than modern.
And I think with Austin, you've always got to have somebody that can basically treat him with kid gloves, haven't you?
Yeah, and I'll tell you something though. Like, I'm big on promo work, especially if it's somebody you're going to highlight them for their promo work. LA Knight's a great promo, but a few weeks ago, I was at SmackDown in Evansville, Indiana, and it's when he came out and ended up having the match with Kofi Kingston. Yeah. And so he's saying that, he killed me on the mic that night. Like, I don't want to see him at WrestleMania, because he said, he said everybody here is here because they want the WrestleMania moment. And then he said, I'm here because I want to be famous, and I'm not here for my WrestleMania moment. That's the key. He said, I'm not here for my WrestleMania moment. I want to make money and be famous. And the way you do that is at WrestleMania. So you just said you don't want your WrestleMania moment, but you're going to get what you want by getting your WrestleMania.
Yeah, but he followed that up by saying, I don't have WrestleMania moments. WrestleMania has LA Knight moments. He
did that. He did that later on, either that same promo or the next promo. But I'm saying, like, to me, that'd be the same thing as me saying, I don't want to be a tag team champion. I want to be the Intercontinental champion. So somebody come out here and be my tag team partner so I can win these tag team titles. That's exactly what he just said in a different way. I love his promo work. I hate how much he sounds like he's trying to do an Austin impression. But
I get a lot of Austin, I get a lot of Rock, I get a lot of Flair, kind of all poured into one. I think it's a crying shame, honestly, guys, that the LA Knight isn't hosting this year.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
I think the Miz is a waste, isn't he?
Yeah.
I like the Miz. I just think you can use him better than a host.
I think he's going to be the host because he's going to get hammered by a loads of veterans and Hall of Famers.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You also mentioned earlier Becky's acting. I wanted to bring this up. Compared to, what was it? I can't remember what WrestleMania it was. The movie parody things this year have been
23,
terrible.
Was it? 23, 24?
Something around there. It was like they're cringe bad. They're cringe bad.
Yeah, they've only done 3 so far, haven't they?
Yeah, they did Becky and Seth doing the Joker.
Yeah, but they've only released 3 so far, and they have released them incrementally, so we still should get a couple of more. And I think hopefully they will get longer and stuff. Yeah.
The first
and
the last 2 have been.
It was the Bianca and Thingy, wasn't it? It was the other one.
Montez doing Titanic.
Yeah. Titanic and Top Gun were both terrible.
Yes, the Top Gun one was bloody awful.
I go back and look at John Cena, JBL doing A Few Good Men, and like
Booker T and Eddie doing Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And all the taxi
drivers.
drivers.
Acting career after that.
Yeah. So good. So last thing on the agenda today, guys, we are running a little over. We're going to quickly touch on the Supercard of Honor, which the 3 of us are also going to be attending, luckily. What do we think about the announcement that there's going to be, in honor of Jay Briscoe, a Reach for the Sky ladder match to crown new champions?
Yes,
Nick.
1,000 times yes. They should do this every year. It's the best way to honor Jay Briscoe is to give him a match, in my opinion. The guy meant so much to Ring of Honor. Having a match named after him on a permanent basis is that. The fact that the Lucha Brothers were the first team announced mean this match is going to be taken seriously.
Yep.
I cannot wait. I think this is going to be probably the highlight of the whole show. The fact that we're going to get to see it live is going to blow my mind. This is fantastic news. I'm really happy it's happening. Can't say enough good things.
Yeah, and please keep the Young Bucks away from it.
Yes.
Which they won't.
The Bucks will be in that match.
The
Bucks will be in that match, and they'll probably win.
The fact that it's a ladder match to me makes it a big deal too, because some of the Briscoes' greatest matches have been ladder matches. Their last trilogy had a fantastic ladder match. I don't know who I want to see in it. I don't know who I want to see win. I just know I want to see it. And you mentioned keep the Young Bucks away from it. I agree, but if the Young Bucks are in it, I'm going to love it anyway. You know what I mean? If I don't care if they put Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman in it. It's going to be a beautiful match.
I'd like to see FTR in it.
I'd like to see FTR
just because of the
relationship with the Briscoes,
where Mark Briscoe had the match with Jay Lethal. I was there live for that, and
nice.
Oh my gosh, the emotion. And I was worried all night. I'm like, this is going to be the main event at the end of like 7 matches, and then the full card. Like the crowd's not going to have the energy for it. And oh my God, what a reaction Mark got. So you're all in for something special. I'm jealous that you all get to be there and I don't.
It's going to be great. The whole weekend's going to be great.
It's going to be
So, is there anything else we would like to discuss this week? Oh, we did have one more thing, didn't we? So this week it's broken. There's potentially a legal battle going on between AEW and GCW over the term "Fight Forever." Obviously, that's the name of AEW's new video game. GCW do an annual charity show with the same name.
They did it. It was 3 years ago when they did the Fight Forever 24-hour crowdless show for charity. And Brett Lauderdale has made it common knowledge he doesn't want Tony Khan's money. He's not trying to delay the head of the game. He just doesn't want to change the name of a charity show because he'll have to pay Fight TV to change it on there.
Which is a fair point.
Which is a completely fair point. The thing is, one of these trademarks was trademarked for an independent entertainment show. The other one was trademarked for an entertainment game. They don't even conflict with each other. So I don't understand why this is going on. This could be solved with a phone call.
Yeah, but he might not want to go on with it and then be told he's just copying AEW. He's trying to pull it. You know
they don't get on very well though, do they? From what I gathered, that was the whole reason why they wanted to box off there, didn't they?
Brett and Tony do not get on very well.
Without going into the whole kind of deep debate about copyright and what you can and can't copyright, the term "Fight Forever," I can't put my finger on it like precisely, but it's been around 10 or 15 years now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've heard it that long. Does anyone remember when it originated?
I think the first time...
But it might have been around before then.
I was going to say, I think the first time I heard it was Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles at TNA for the X Division title in 2004. Oh, yeah. That'll have been the first time I heard it in 2004.
Yeah. So either way, I don't think Brett or Tony should be trademarking it because it's part of the business, isn't it? It's been around that long.
Trademarking it for the name of a show, I get, but like beyond that, like you can't. What are you gonna do? You're gonna sue WWE's fans for chanting it at WrestleMania? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, one thing I do want to state is. Yeah.
Go on, Andy.
One thing I do want to state is instead of spending his money on trying to get a lawsuit on the go, GCW need to get their own website. Thank you very much.
Yes,
have they not got a website?
No, they have a YouTube channel, but they have no website.
I was checking it to see if there was any updates on the card for spring break, and they do not own a website.
No, they have a YouTube channel. That is it.
All we need to know is that Ibushi is going to be wrestling. That's all that matters.
And El Hijo del Vikingo.
Yeah, I hope Nick Gage is on it as well. Wouldn't mind seeing a bit of.
Nick Gage is defending the title possibly against Masha Slamovich at spring break.
Is Vikingo the best guy in the world right now, not under a major contract?
No, Ibushi's probably the best guy in the world, not under a major contract.
Oh yeah, I forgot his New Japan just somewhat recently expired. Yeah. But Ibushi's getting up there in age though, isn't he?
Well, you got to count Jay White in that conversation as well.
That's a good point. I think Ibushi's like 39.
I'm talking about in ring. I think Jay White all around is one of the top, but in ring, I don't know that he's one of the top, in my opinion. He's great, but I wouldn't put him on Ibushi or Vikingo's level in the ring.
Yeah. So we've gone slightly over this week. I think it's time to wrap it up. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. It's been great catching up with you.
Been a pleasure,
Andy, Nick, is there anything we want to plug for the week coming?
No, I just want to say, please, everybody tune in for my SmackDown reviews on Friday nights, live after SmackDown goes on air. And if you like what we do here at the Legion, please join the Legion. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, hit the like button. It really helps us out. It's free, and it's the only way the YouTube algorithm knows we exist.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to shout to you, Nicholas, because last week on the show, I was going nuts in the comments trying to tell you when you were going, well, don't really watch SmackDown. You can just watch this and you can just watch that. And I'm like, stop telling people and tell them to go and watch your review.
Can I just say, Simon, it was good catching up with you. Nick, it was nice meeting you. Andy, okay.
You're welcome back anytime, Josh.
Yeah. Josh, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, anytime my daughter's not here for the weekend, I'm available.
We'll catch up again, mate. Thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So that's it for this week. We are Wrestling Legion. We appreciate you watching. We like to make it make sense.